Coming up on today's episode of Airborne, GAMA releases its third quarter General Aviation Aircraft Shipment Report. AEA challenges the FAA on NextGen GA Fund implementation. And the FAA sets nationwide TFR policy for major sporting events. Welcome to Airborne on Aero-TV. I'm Ashley Hale. As we are wrapping up today's episode of Airborne, our newsroom got a late-breaking story. Jim Campbell is here to report.
Thanks, Ashley, and hi, folks. Well, I don't have to tell you that rocket science is hard. I just got back from the Redbird migration where one of my presentations, a speech to a crowd of a couple hundred people, was about the amazing successes of the first 10 years of the X Prize and all the amazing work that came out of SpaceShipTwo. And the fact that SpaceShipTwo was in the process of getting ready to carry passengers and was in the process of being researched and developed as a commercial space vehicle. Once again, rocket science is hard. And today they've proven it with the fact that SpaceShipTwo, the first vehicle of its kind, was lost during a test flight. What little we know is this. Sometime after separation from White Knight 2, SpaceShipTwo experienced a propulsion anomaly. The aircraft experienced a violent breakup, and of the two pilots on board, one is reported dead and one is reported to be severely injured and apparently parachuted clear of the airframe. Right now we're listening to a lot of instant experts on television, a lot of people who think they know what's going on and have already prognosticated that, Virgin Galactic is out of the game now, or it'll be 10 years before they can recover from this. The fact is this, we don't know. They don't know. Very few people know anything at this point. But if progress is going to be made, things are going to happen, accidents are going to occur, and in the long run, progress will be made. Only if we as a community believe in it. I believe in it, I believe in what's going on here, and I do think progress will eventually be made. Virgin Galactic is one of a number of companies that are at this point hoping to trailblaze the space tourism industry, and I have no doubt that there will be many successes in the future. But for now, one of our own has been lost, another is injured. We wish the very best to the families of those injured, and our condolences to those who have been lost. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell.
The General Aviation Manufacturers Association released the 2014 third quarter General Aviation Shipment Report yesterday, and it confirms business is improving. Total worldwide general aviation airplane shipments increased 5.7% to 1,678, and billings rose to $16 billion. That's up 4%. Piston engine airplane shipments increased 9.2% to 806 units in the first 9 months of 2014, compared to 738 airplane shipments in the same period last year. Turboprop airplane shipments were down 3.7% to 412 units this year. Business jet shipments were up over last year from 421 units to 460 units in 2014. GAMA's president and CEO Pete Bunce said, quote, "The optimism about the general aviation market on display at NBAA's convention last week is reflected in the continued recovery of the business jet and piston engine segments this quarter." End quote. Bunce continued, quote, "Unfortunately, not every sector, as evidenced by turboprops, is showing sustained growth, and this is indicative of the industry challenges we still face." End quote. Bunce went on to say he hoped Congress will take a serious look at incentive proposals after the midterm elections. The detailed 6-page report can be found on the GAMA website. The FAA played host to a group of aviation leaders this week at a call to action summit to engage the aviation industry in meeting the January 1st, 2020 deadline to equip aircraft with new avionics technology. Mike Whitaker, FAA Deputy Administrator, set the tone of the summit when he said, quote, "We're not here to rewrite the rule. Rather, we're here to discuss any barriers we may have in meeting the mandate. The mandate is not changing." End quote. Paula Dirks, Aircraft Electronics Association President, shared with the audience that the repair station industry is ready, willing, and able to meet the ADS-B out mandate as the shops are trained and prepared for the New Year's Day 2020 deadline. However, Dirks also challenged the FAA with a call to action regarding the NextGen GA Fund, a congressionally authorized loan guarantee program. She said in part, quote, The FAA is dragging its feet on the incentive program by not approving the loan guarantee certificates for the NextGen GA fund. Until the FAA issues the loan guarantee certificates, nothing moves on this program, end quote. Others echoed her concern over slow progress by the FAA. After these messages, temporary flight restrictions are expanded.
Redbird Flight Simulations is dedicated to revolutionizing flight training by designing, manufacturing, and delivering affordable and innovative flight training technologies. Each Redbird device is designed to enhance the training experience for pilots of all levels, from student to ATP. Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.
Welcome back. If you have a story suggestion for Airborne, Aero-TV, or our website, send an email to news-spy@aero-news.net. An FAA NOTAM indicates the FAA is intensifying the use of TFRs. TFRs will be established over all major sporting events. The NOTAM states that all aircraft operations, including parachute jumping and unmanned aircraft and remote-controlled aircraft, are prohibited within a 3 nautical mile radius and up to and including 3,000 feet above ground level of any stadium having a seating capacity of 30,000 during a sporting event. Walt Disney World in Florida is included in an additional NOTAM. This NOTAM also applies to NASCAR, Sprint Cup, IndyCar, and Champ Series races, excluding qualifying and pre-race events. Flights conducted for operational purposes of any event, stadium, or venue, and broadcast coverage for the broadcast right holders are authorized with an approved airspace waiver. The restrictions do not apply to those aircraft authorized by and in contact with ATC for operational or safety of flight purposes, Department of Defense, law enforcement, and air ambulance flight operations. General aviation pilots are urged to check with flight services for TFRs to assure compliance before flight. It's Friday at last and time for our weekly barnstorming commentary. Today, Jim gives the podium to EAA Chair Jack Pelton, who discusses aviation marketing at Redbird's Migration Conference 2014.
All of us are here in this room to love aviation. I mean, that we've either made a living at it, we participate in it. My personal recreation life is associated with it. I don't know what I would do without it. But we are the worst marketers, and we are absolutely the worst proponents of sharing that excitement with anybody. And what got me fired up about this is a couple days ago when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about while being here. Social media, it's a great way to create engagement. And now we've got these ads that blip up on your Facebook page and things you can't control. Somebody's profiled me as being an aviation geek, and up pops this opportunity to buy all these different wonderful t-shirts. The first one that pops up is called Forces of Flight, and it's got an airplane and it's got the normal lift, thrust, drag vectors. Lift is dreams, thrust was money, drag was FAA, and gravity was reality. Now, I don't know about you, but from a marketing standpoint of trying to get people excited about aviation and into learning how to fly and training, I don't know what could be a worse example of trying to paint the picture of what's important for us in aviation. I personally think that the vector should be changed. Lift being dreams is fantastic. Thrust really needs to be technology. It's not about money. It's about the technologies that we're deploying, whether it be through the Red Hawk, which is the ability to offer a lower cost training point and training platform with that diesel propulsion system, to the Redbird simulators themselves that create a training process that is more efficient and more cost effective. I view it as technology as the driver of that. Drag is not the FAA. The FAA is not going away. It'd be no different than if I was into hot rodders and I had my hot rod 32 Chevy picture on the front of my t-shirt, and on the back it said, "I hate the Department of Motor Vehicles." That doesn't do anything for you. They're there, you're going to have to live with them. The real issue regarding drag is our ability to change the regulatory environment to allow us to use simulation to a higher level than what we've used in the past, which we're going to discuss, I think, later throughout the conference. The ability to create the environment that gets rid of some of the parasite drag that's the hassle that you go through in getting through the training environment. And as far as gravity, reality may be the right choice, but I really think that the gravity piece of it is creating the ability for you to either recreate in your airplane, or to provide transportation in your airplane, be able to provide commerce, or to just flat-ass have fun, which is a big part of what aviation is all about. So we have a hurdle that's in front of us, and it's ourself that we have to work to get through.
We're sad to report that the executive director of the National Gay Pilots Association, known as the NGPA, was fatally injured Monday in an accident that occurred near Boulder Municipal Airport in Colorado. Stephen Moore was the only person on board the Mooney M20C when it went down shortly after takeoff from Boulder. An unofficial report said that the airplane impacted the ground nose first, but no official findings have been made. The FAA and NTSB are investigating the accident. Moore lived in Westminster, Colorado, and was a first officer flying for ExpressJet. After the break, type clubs join the call for third-class medical reform. Stay tuned.
ADS-B will be mandatory for most aircraft by 2020 in the United States, but you can benefit from ADS-B today with the Bendix King KT-74 Mode S transponder. The KT-74 meets the global mandates for ADS-B out when attached to a suitable WAAS GPS.
Welcome back. Members of Type Club Coalition, the TCC, sent a letter to Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox and Office of Management and Budget Director Sean Donovan, urging those organizations to expedite review of the FAA's NPRM regarding third-class medical certification reform. The EAA reported that TCC states, quote, "The current medical certification process is unnecessarily bureaucratic. Many otherwise active pilots stop flying every year, not because they can't qualify for a medical certificate, but because the cost and effort of obtaining that certificate is too burdensome," end quote. It also mentions that educating pilots about aeromedical factors and allowing them to make informed day-to-day decisions with their personal physician's input will be promoting and enhancing safety compared to the FAA's current system, which relies on a snapshot of certain parameters of a pilot's health to certify flight fitness for a given period of time. ANN will continue to watch and report on this important issue. And finally, a Beechcraft Air crashed into the flight safety training complex at Wichita Mid-Continent Airport yesterday morning, causing a loss of lives, injuries, and major property damage. The investigation as to a probable cause is just beginning, and we'll have more details on this in a later report. Well, that's our program for Friday, October 31st. Remember to get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at Aero-News.net. Remember, Airborne is streamed 3 times a week and is always online. You can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a new episode. And remember, the next generation of Airborne will be unveiled right after New Year's. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.